What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another show of the GSMC DeadBall Sports Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. My name is Roberto Ramirez, aka Philly Rob. Don't let the Philly in my name fool you. This is a national show. Today I got a great show for you guys, man. I'm going to do a little bit of an NFL recap. We're going to talk about what happened in college football. Crazy weekend. A lot of top 20 teams going down. We're going to talk about the NLDS. We're going to talk about the ALDS. We're going to talk a little bit about the WNBA playoffs. Don't forget, hockey started today. I'll talk about that in tomorrow's show, but for tonight, I'll stick to the WNBA. But hey, don't forget, like, subscribe, tell your people about this show. This is the hottest new podcast going on. The GSMC DeadBall Sports Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. Like I always say, like, share, subscribe, tell your friends, tell your homies, tell your family members. This is the hottest new podcast out there. Let everyone know. But hey, if you want to be heard, you want people that, yay, I was on the GSMC DeadBall Sports Podcast. All you gotta do is click on that super chat, man. Click on that super chat feature. I'll have your comment in this show. I read the comments. Whatever you guys want me to cover, I'll cover it. I'm a man of the people. I want to give the peoples what they want. But like I always say, this show is all about you. We love hearing your thoughts. We love hearing your questions, your opinions as we dive into the latest sports action. Wherever you get a burning question, a bold prediction, you want to give a shout out to your favorite player, don't hold it back. Drop it in the comments. Your voice adds so much to the conversation, and we're here to make sure that it's heard. But if you really want to make sure that your message stands out, like I said, put your money where your mouth is. Use that super chat feature. Just click on that $sign at the bottom of the chat box. Send in your message. It's a surefire way to get our attention. I'll be reading and replying to your super chats on the next episode after receiving them. Not only does that help our super chat get you a spotlight on the show, but it also helps our show and our channel to keep going strong. Your support means the world to us, and that's what allows us to bring you the content you want day after day, week after week. We're building something special here, and we couldn't do it without you. Jump in, join the conversation, and send those super chats. Let's make sure that we make this show better together. And if you rather not use that super chat, you can also go to our website, gsmcsports.net, to tip, donate, and leave your comment or question. We're so grateful to have you here with us. We couldn't do this show without you. Now, to the NFL recap. A lot of games going on last week. Well, should I say last Sunday? The New York Jets playing the Vikings in London. My goodness. What is going on? Aaron Rodgers, 29 for 54. My goodness. 244 yards, 2 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Sam Darnold for the Vikings. A lot less, but a lot more efficient. 14 for 31, 179 yards, 1 interception. The New York Jets lose in London, 17-23 to the Vikings. Not only that did they lost the game, they also lost their head coach. Robert Saleh, as of today, got escorted out of the building. The dude got fired. What the hell? What is going on? What a mess. I think it's a bad idea to fire him right now, especially when you're going to play your rival, your division rival in the New York, Buffalo Bills, another, team in the state of New York. That's a little wild. Why would you get rid of the head coach that kind of gives you a chance to run the table and get back in first place? If you win that game, that's something that makes you scratch your head. Now, next game, let's talk about the Bears at The Carolina Panthers, another victory for the Bears, 10-36. Caleb Williams getting more and more comfortable week after week, 20 for 29, 304 yards, 2 touchdowns. That's big. Andy Dalton, the Red Rifle, 18 for 28, 136 yards, 1 interception. Literally not enough. You know that, just not enough. Chuba Hubbard, 13 carries for 97 yards for the Panthers, 1 touchdown. And DeAndre Swift for Chicago, 21 carries, 73 yards, 1 touchdown. The Bears, DJ Moore, 5 receptions, 105 yards, 2 touchdowns. Jalen Coker for the Panthers, 4 receptions, 68 yards. Browns at the Commanders, the Commies. What is going on? This team cannot lose. My goodness, Jaden Daniels, 14 for 25, 238 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Deshaun Watson, 15 for 28, 125 yards, 1 touchdown. Jaden Daniels was also the leading rusher for this game. 11 carries for 82 yards. 82. Don't forget about Terry McLaurin. 4 receptions, 112 yards. Amari Cooper for Cleveland, 4 receptions, 60 yards. The Dolphins at New England, winning. They won a game. What is going on? 15-10, Jacoby Brissett for the Pats, 18 for 34, 160 yards. Tyler Huntley just did enough. Basically, 18 for 31, 194 yards, 1 interception. Oh, my goodness, I'm happy for Miami. Good for them. They won a game. They won a damn game. What is going on? Unbelievable. The next game, Colts at Jaguars, another upset. I mean, is it really an upset? 34-37, Jaguars win. Trevor Lawrence, man, keeping Doug Peterson busy. He's keeping his job for now. You know what I mean? By throwing 28 for 34, 371 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Meanwhile, Joe Flacco looking decent at his age. My goodness, 33 for 44. For Joe, 359 yards, 3 touchdowns. Unbelievable. Tank Bixby for the Jaguars, 13 carries, 101 yards, 2 touchdowns. Meanwhile, Brian Thomas Jr., 5 receptions, 122 yards, 1 touchdown. And Alec Pierce, 3 receptions for 134 yards. Bills at Texans. C.J. Stroud back to regular form. Unbelievable. Versus a very good defense at home. C.J. Stroud, 28 for 38, 331 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 INT. Meanwhile, Josh Allen. Josh, man, don't go back to playing hero ball. Man, goodness, 9 for 30. Threw the ball all day. 131 yards, 1 touchdown. James Cook for the Bills, 20 carries, 82 yards, 1 touchdown. Meanwhile, Cam Akers, 9 carries, 42 yards, and 1 touchdown. Stephon Diggs, 6 receptions, 82 yards, and a stink eye to Josh Allen at the very end of the game. Keon Allen for Buffalo, 1 reception, 49 yards, 1 touchdown. Shout out to the Houston, especially to Stephon Diggs, giving that little stink eye at the very end. Ravens at Bengals. Another victory for the Ravens. The Ravens are starting to get really red hot in the black and blue division. They win via Justin Tucker field goal from the 24th yard line in overtime. Lamar Jackson, 26 for 42, 341 yards, 4 touchdowns. Let me repeat. 4 touchdowns. I don't know what sounds do the Ravens make, but that I just made that up. Joe Burrow for the Bengals, 30 for 39, 392 yards, 5 touchdowns. My goodness, man. This was a shootout. Meanwhile, he had 1 interception. Derrick Henry, man, continues to be a workhorse for the Ravens. 15 carries, 92 yards, 1 touchdown. Zay Flowers receiving for Baltimore, 7 receptions, 111 yards. Jamar Chase for the Bengals, 10 receptions, 193 yards with 2 touchdowns. Hell of a game. That was a shootout. And for the next game, the Raiders visiting the Broncos. Man, the Broncos, all right, I see y'all, man. Big victory, man. 34-18 at home. Bo Nix, 19 for 27. 206 yards, 2 touchdowns. Meanwhile, Gardner Minshew, 12 for 17, 137 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. The Cardinals visiting the 49ers. Goodness gracious, what is going on in the NFL? Arizona goes to San Francisco and gets the victory. 24-23, Kyler Murray, 19 for 30, 195 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Meanwhile, Brock Purdy, 19 for 35, 244 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. James Conner running the ball, 19 carries for 86 yards. Meanwhile, Jordan Mason for the Cardinals, for the 49ers, 14 carries, 89 yards. Brandon Ayuk finally woke up from his sleeping. From him not being awake, I don't know. Brandon Ayuk, 8 receptions, 147 yards. Meanwhile, Michael Wasda, I just butchers his last name, 5 receptions for 78 yards. Meanwhile, next game, the New York Football Giants going to the Seattle Seahawks. They go into Seattle and beat them. 29-20. Daniel Jones, 23 for 34, 257 yards, 2 touchdowns. Meanwhile, Geno Smith for Seattle, 26 for 40, 284 yards, only 1 touchdown. But Tyrone Tracy Jr., 18 carries, 129 yards. My goodness, man. Geno Smith tried to run the ball a little bit. 4 carries for 72 yards. Darius Slayton for the Giants, 8 receptions, 122 yards. Meanwhile, Tyler Lockett had 4 receptions for 75 yards. Packers at Rams. My goodness. The Packers, Jordan Love, 15 for 26, 224 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Meanwhile, Matthew Stafford, 29 for 45, 260 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. For Green Bay, Josh Jacobs, 19 carries, 73 yards. Kyron Williams, 22 carries for 102 yards, 1 touchdown. And Tucker Kraft, 4 receptions for 88 yards, 2 touchdowns. A big victory for the Packers, beating the LA Rams. They're finally on the win column, 24-19. Cowboys at Steelers. Nail biter, my goodness. Dak Prescott, 29 for 42, 352 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Justin Fields, usually a little bit mid as always, 15 for 27, 131 yards, 2 touchdowns though for him. Rico Dowdle for Dallas, 20 carries, 87 yards. Meanwhile, for the Steelers, Najee Harris, 14 carries for 42 yards. That is not enough. Probably the reason why they lost that game. Not CeeDee Lamb, Jalen Tolbert, 7 receptions for 67 yards and the touchdown to win the game. Saints at Chiefs. Goodness gracious, the Chiefs continue to win. Meanwhile, their injuries are piling up. Patrick Mahomes, 28 for 39, 331 yards, 1 interception. Derek Carr, not looking too sharp, 18 for 28, 165 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Kareem Hunt, 27 carries for 102 yards for the Chiefs, 1 touchdown. Alvin Kamara, 11 carries, 26 yards. He is getting neutralized week after week. Juju Smith-Schuster with 7 receptions for 130 yards. Rashid, 4 receptions for 86 yards and 1 touchdown. My goodness, what do you guys think? Let me know. What do you guys think, and what was the biggest upset of the weekend? We'll be right back. We'll talk a little bit about everything that happened in college football. Don't go anywhere. This is the GSMC DeadBall Sports Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign. A sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign. A sign.
I wanna be the greatest. Everybody on the fake shit. I look around and feel like everybody is the fakest. I make this every day and I'm impatient, hoping one day I blow up from the basement. Statement, the top is so vacant. I don't hear shit that I think is amazing. Waiting for my day when I'm playing sold out shows for 1,000 faces. Hey, give me that crown, get in my way and to be put down. It ain't your place, all this my town. If I want that shit, then I'll get it right now. I'm losing it, the noose it fits. I'm losing shit, a stupid myth. You choose to live or choose to dip. You choose to fight or lose your grip and lose a gift.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign. A sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind?
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the show. Please don't forget, like, subscribe, share, let everyone know about the hottest new podcast out there, the GSMC DeadBall Sports Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. Like, subscribe, share, click on that super chat. Let us know what you think of the show. Leave a comment. Let us know. Let's get back into it. College football week 6 recap. My goodness. Ladies and gentlemen, Michigan State, what happened to that program? I get it. Oregon is a juggernaut. Oregon Ducks defeat the Michigan State Trojans. I'm kidding. The Spartans, don't get me twisted. They defeat them 31-10. Another top 25 team, the Texas A&M Aggies defeated the Missouri Tigers 41-10. Penn State flexing their muscles. A huge victory at home, looking really sharp, 27-11. Now another top 25 team, the SMU Ponies. The Mustangs, ladies and gentlemen, 34-27. They go into Louisville and beat the Cardinals. And another top 25 matchup, Pittsburgh goes into UNC and comes out with the victory, 34-24. Indiana goes into Chicago, University of Northwestern, 41-24. Great victory for the Hoosiers. Now, Auburn. Whatever happened to that program? Georgia. Georgia at home defeats Auburn 31-13. Another huge victory for Ole Miss. Number 9 Ole Miss goes into Carolina, makes a statement, 27-3. I expected South Carolina to kind of show up for this game. I guess that they did not. Iowa, my goodness, goes into Ohio State and finds out why they are the best team in the nation, quote unquote, 35-7. The Buckeyes defeat the Hawkeyes. Goodness gracious. And another big, huge upset, and I love this upset. Vanderbilt at home defeats Alabama 40-35. I love it. The world is right. Every time Alabama loses a game, poor people find money out in the street, warm water, whatever is cold, hot food wherever it's needed. The world is just a better place every time Alabama loses. My goodness. Clemson, number 10 Clemson, defeats Florida State. Nothing new here. 29-13. Utah State goes into Boise State and get spanked. 62-30. Big victory by the Broncos. Baylor goes into Iowa State and finds out why Iowa State is undefeated. Iowa State comes out with the victory, 43-21. And another big upset. Tennessee, number 8 Tennessee goes into Arkansas and comes out with a defeat. Arkansas wins this game 19-14 in another top 25 matchup. Michigan, number 24 Michigan, loses to the Huskies. The Washington Huskies win at home 27-17. What is going on at Michigan? How are they still ranked? Miami, Florida, number 6 in the country, edges Cal by 1 point. My goodness, hell of a game. Good to see Miami still winning. Number 6 Miami defeats the Cal Bears 39-38. Leave in the comments which was your favorite top 25 upset. Every time Alabama loses, I'm happy. The world is happy, except people who are Roll Tide fans. You know what I mean? Goodness gracious, man. And Tennessee, I know that they got a very high-powered offense, and even that defense is pretty legit. But it's kind of. Listen, I know what people are thinking. They're like, well, the SEC stuff, blah blah blah. Okay, I get it. It is a very tough conference, and this is something that I will talk about very soon in this show. The power that the SEC and the Big Ten have acquired with the amount of teams that they have, and they're pretty good teams that are in that conference. Now, with that being said, I want to hear what you guys think. Is there going to be a 3-loss team in the playoff? I think if you have 2 losses, that should be the line. The line we need to draw the line to get into the tournament. We need to draw the line at 2 games lost. If you have 2 games lost and you're in a power conference and you face like really good opposition and you didn't get embarrassed, you literally lost last minute. You know, I will have to say, yeah, I can say, yeah, you deserve to be in the tournament. Now, 3 losses just because you played in the SEC. We are rewarding teams for recruiting well and not rewarding teams that are winning, like Iowa State, a team that is basically on top of the Big 12. They look really good. It's not their fault that they play in the Big 12. They need to be in that tournament. Let's see what happens, come down December. Let me know what you guys think. In our next segment, we'll talk about NLDS. A lot of things going on in those 2 series. Don't go anywhere. This is the GSMC DeadBall Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. Don't go anywhere.
Looking for your daily fix of sports talk without having to pay for it? GSMC Sports Network is available on YouTube. Just search GSMC Sports Network. Get your fix of daily sports talk shows on YouTube, absolutely free. NFL, college football, NBA, MLB, MMA, UFC, fantasy football, and so much more. GSMC Sports Network has shows running all day long, with new sports shows starting every 2 hours. Just like on your favorite cable sports channel, except GSMC Sports Network is absolutely free. Just search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube to catch one of your new favorite shows, like the GSMC College Football Podcast, Chip Shot Football Podcast, Hoops and Heels Women's Sports Podcast, GSMC Basketball Podcast, and so many more. Check it out for yourself. GSMC Sports Network, now available on YouTube absolutely free. Search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube right now.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the GSMC DeadBall Sports Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. Don't forget, like, subscribe, share, let everyone know that this is the hottest new podcast out there, the GSMC DeadBall Sports Podcast, baby. You already know. Like I always say, my name is Roberto Ramirez. Don't forget that name. I might become famous in the future. At least you can say, hey, I clicked on that super chat, donated some money to the GSMC Podcast Network, and I was on Robbie's show. You already know what it is. The GSMC DeadBall Sports Podcast. Don't forget, we also have a website. If you don't want to do it over the internet, over YouTube, you can do it over the internet in our beautiful website, gsmcsport.net. Like, subscribe, donate, leave a comment. You already know what it is. Now, coming back, this is our third segment of the show, and I'm going to talk about baseball. The NLDS. What is going on? And before I get into that, I would love to talk about what in the hell is going on with the commissioner of MLB putting playoff games during the week at 3, 4, 5, 6 p.m. My man, somebody needs to talk to Rob Manfred into these networks that people have jobs. I know that not everybody works 9 to 5, but the majority of the people do. Especially the older folks who can afford going to these games, paying these ridiculous prices. You know what I mean? So, Rob Manfred, my man, you need to do something and put these games and stagger them. I understand that there's some West Coast games and there's some East Coast games. My man, you can start games at 6 p.m. and start another one at 8. For whatever reason, they need to put the New York Yankees in prime time every single time. Even though the Philadelphia Phillies are playing a New York team, two huge markets. I know they're not the biggest. We understand that the New York Yankees are the biggest market. But at the same time, you can't continue to push smaller market teams and you want to expand the game. Smaller market teams like you can say San Diego, even though they have an amazing attendance there. They are a smaller market team. Outside of San Diego, you won't see many San Diego fans. Same with the Tigers. Same with the Guardians. Stop punishing these teams because they are small market teams. They have all-stars too. And if you want people from outside of the fans to watch these games, make it accessible to people to watch them on TV and make it easier for people to get to the game so that they can at least go to the game and not have to call sick or take a vacation day because you have season tickets. So you're forced to go. My man, forget on it. Now, let's talk about the Phillies and the Mets. You guys see the P, right? You can see the P, right? I'm a Philadelphia Phillies fan. I never hide it. I'm a Philly fan. I'm a Philly sports fan. I'm also a realist. The Mets are kicking our behind. And there's so many things about this Mets team. It's a very resilient team. The Polar Bear, Alonso, he's been red hot. Of course he's red hot. He's hitting home runs left and right. But the Phillies bats have been the real surprise of this series. They haven't really showed up. They've been swinging at horrible pitches outside the zone. They have no plate discipline. Alec Bohm did not get a hit. Had 4 at-bats. And only 7 pitches were thrown to him. that should tell you everything about the Phillies. And I think, and I understand that, Bryce Harper is the best player we have. He needs to be the first guy to sit on pitches and let these New York Mets pitchers throw. Sean Manaea pitched today for the Mets, and we had him against the ropes in the 6th with 2 men on board and nothing. The New York Mets don't have the best pitching staff in the world. That's why I don't think they will make the World Series, but they will do a lot of damage. Especially, it's gonna be the Mets and San Diego in the NLCS. Who would have thought, right? The 2 most expensive teams, the 2 teams with 2 of the best records, the Dodgers and Phillies, gonna be out of it. 2-7, 7-2 was the score today. The Mets lead the series 2-1. The next game, Game 4, is going to be at 5 p.m. tomorrow. Ranger Suarez will get the ball for the Philadelphia Phillies, and that's another question mark outside of that bullpen. The bullpen has been low-key a disaster, but if you don't hit, you're not giving them a chance. Let's see what Ranger Suarez could do, because he was a Cy Young candidate the first half of the season. Second half of the season, not so much. Hasn't been very good, to say the least. A lot of question marks on that Phillies team. Can they overcome? Because the Mets is a team that doesn't go away. The New York Mets is a team that is very resilient, and it's a team that is believing in themselves. Do the Phillies go back to Philadelphia? I don't think so. I think the series ends tomorrow, to the point that I'm debating if I should watch or not, just because I don't want my mental health as a fan to continue to drown and to continue to get worse. Since all my Philly teams are stinking up the bed, I am so ready for the NBA to start and for Joel Embiid to break something so he can break my heart all over again. In the other series, Dodgers at Padres. Goodness gracious, man. That is an entertaining series, but the Padres are so red hot. Tatis has been amazing. They won today 5-6. 6-5. I apologize. I don't know what the hell's wrong with me today. But they lead the series 2-1. Tomorrow they play again at Petco at 9 p.m. That's a series that I think the Padres are going to win. And I think they will finish the Dodgers tomorrow. The Dodgers have the same problem with their pitching. The pitching is mediocre. It's not pretty good. It's not bad. It's not great. It's just that the Padres are. If you have to pitch in the strike zone to this Padres lineup, you're gonna get punished. You're gonna get punished. There's no way that you can't pitch around them because they'll fill up the bases. They have athletes on that team. They got guys that can run the bases. That's a team that you literally have to strike them out. And they're so red hot, they're putting the ball in play every time the Dodgers pitching staff throws in the zone. That's not good news for LA. Now, I want to talk about all the stuff that happened in game 2 in LA. Jerks and Profar are out on the field. I can see a lot of frustration out of Dodgers fans, but they need to understand this is a team that lost a lot of bodies in that pitching staff. I don't know what's going to happen next year. Will they come back the same? Is Ohtani going to be a star all over again on the mound? I'm not talking about the hitting. The hitting is always there. He always hits a home run. He's 6'5". He can reach, and he has a lot of power. So even if you try to fool him outside, trying to pitch outside, and trying to catch the outside of the strike zone, the inside of the strike zone, he has a really short swing, and he has reach. He's gonna put that ball in play with power. With that being said, I can see the Padres finishing this series tomorrow as well. Kicking off, who would have thought New York Padres and New York Mets and San Diego Padres NLCS probably starting this weekend sometime if everything ends tomorrow. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. Who do you think is going to the World Series? Who's going to win the National League pennant? Leave it down in the comments. For the next segment, we'll talk a little bit about the ALDS and all the good stuff going on over there. Do not go anywhere. This is the GSMC DeadBall Podcast. Don't go anywhere.
For the best and latest podcasts available anywhere, go to the podcast app on your cell phone and type in GSMC to access free content-rich podcasts on health and wellness, book reviews, sports, entertainment, relationships, social media, movies, technology, finance, and even weird news. Subscribe and download the GSMC Podcast Network's family of shows, available everywhere podcasts are found.
Welcome back to the show. This is the GSMC DeadBall Sports Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. Don't forget to follow us on TikTok. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter/X. We are everywhere. GSMC Sports Net. Don't forget, my man. Now, I want to talk about the ALDS and what is going to happen and what has happened with this team, these 4 teams that are left. I want to talk about first the Tigers and Guardians series, because this is a very interesting series. This is a series that who would have thought that this matchup would happen? You know, even before the playoffs started, during the very last weekend of Major League regular season of this 2024 season, you know, shout out to the Tigers, and especially A.J. Hinch. He's been touching, he has that little Midas gold touch. He's been making the right moves, and I love how he put Scuba on game 2. They won a huge game yesterday, 3-0, to tie the series 1-1. The Guardians didn't look very good, not a lot of offense. Scuba just literally shut them down, and the Tigers just took advantage of every time the Guardians try to hit them in the strike zone and like hit the strike zone with their pitches. 3 p.m. game tomorrow, which I hate. Fred Manfred, get on it. Do something about this. Are you going to continue to put 3 p.m. games in 2024? It's no longer the 80s and 90s. You can get fired for taking game. You can get fired, laid off for taking off early to go to a game because you are a season ticket holder. We need to stop punishing teams for being small market. This Tigers team This game should have been at least at 6 p.m. So the rest of the world, or at least the United States, can see how good Screwball is as a pitcher. And the funniest thing of all, the Tigers won that game 3-0 in Cleveland, who's been a powerhouse offensively. That is a nasty lineup that they have. I still think the Guardians will win the series. Things will change once they get back to Detroit. It's going to be a chilly one, too. But like I said, Screwball, 7 innings, 3 hits allowed, 8 strikeouts. Great game by him. Series is tied, like I said, game 3 tomorrow at 3 p.m. Now, on the other side, on the other series of the ALDS, the Kansas City Royals go again into Yankee Stadium and tie the series 4-2, winning the game 4-2, tying the series 1-1. That was a really good performance right there by the Royals. And this is a team that doesn't fear anyone. They're playing with house money. They've been pretty damn good all year, but they've been kind of hot. Just one of those dark horses. They have enough pitching. They got enough hitting. They execute. They run the bases well. They play great defense. And they just took it in the chin to the Yankees and won the round. You know, I'm talking boxing here, and by round I mean they won the game. They won the game 4-2 in New York, tying that series. Another game 3 is tomorrow at 8 p.m. Very interesting. Another very interesting series. Both series in the ALDS are extremely serious and very interesting. I still think the Yankees are going to win. Say what you want. I know the Yankees pitching is not the best, to say the least. They are a team that you can hit against. I don't think that's a team that can bat their way out of this series. Maybe they could. It's going to go to 5. They're going to go home. They'll finish them at home in game 5. I just don't think the Royals have enough firepower to continue to expose the Yankees pitching staff. But that is going to be a problem when they face Cleveland or even Detroit. Because Detroit is a very opportunistic team, just like the New York Mets. They punish you when people get on base. Hitting the ball well. Very interesting series. Who do you guys think is going to the ALCS? I still think it's going to be Cleveland and New York, and the Yankees. Who do you guys think is going to win the pennant? Leave a comment. Let me know what you think. I want to read through the comments and hear what you guys to say. I still think it's going to be Cleveland and New York. And I wouldn't be surprised if Cleveland gets it together, goes into Detroit, their bats come alive, they smack them twice, win the series, face the Yankees in the ALCS, smack them, and go into the World Series. I'm not rooting for Cleveland here at all. I'm not rooting for them. I got a little bit of love for Detroit. I'll show Detroit some love. I like to see a good underdog get their opportunity. Let's see what happens. Let me know in the comments, who do you think is going to win the pennant in the American League, and what teams are going to battle for the pennant? Is it Cleveland? Is it Detroit? Is it Kansas City? Will it be New York? That's a little, that the ALCS is a little bit tough to predict. Let alone who is going to win the pennant in the American League. It's going to be really tough to come up with that. I think the National League is getting clear. Can the Phillies come back? Sure. They're going to have to need some plate discipline like they had on Sunday night, Sunday afternoon. But these 4 teams don't have that problem. Now, Jazz Chisholm was interviewed after the game and said, oh no, Kansas City got lucky, we'll come back, we'll beat them. My man, this Kansas City team is a team that is very well managed. They have great leadership in Salvador Perez. There's a lot of veterans on that team. Bobby Witt Jr. is an AL MVP candidate. I don't think that was luck, my man. You gotta understand that this New York team, this on the 27 Yankees, that team doesn't exist anymore. That team is gone. Kansas City ain't no slouch. Put some respect in their name. And shut the hell up if you don't want to continue to look stupid. Because they're making me look stupid. I thought the Yankees would come in and sweep the series. With that being said, in our next segment, don't go anywhere, we're going on another break, but in our next segment, I'll cover WNBA playoffs. WNBA playoff recap and all the good stuff that happened over the weekend. Why in the world they're playing on Sundays? What is going on with the WNBA? Why are you trying to battle and compete against the NFL? We'll talk about who did good, who looked bad. Don't go anywhere. This is the GSMC DeadBall Podcast brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the show. This is the GSMC DeadBall Sports Podcast brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. Please don't forget, like, subscribe, share, tell your friends about the hottest new podcasts out there. The GSMC DeadBall Podcast with Roberto Ramirez, a.k.a. Philly Rob, a.k.a. Papi Chulo, a.k.a. mucho latino aquí en la casa. Yo hablo español, por supuesto, no te olvides. For my Spanish-speaking people, you already know what it is. But hey, click on that super chat, leave a donation. It keeps the channel going strong. And with that, we will feature your comments in this show. Let us know what you guys think. Click like, subscribe, follow us on TikTok, follow us on Instagram, follow us on Twitter/X, GSMC Sports Net. Now, with that being said, this is the final segment of the show. Let's talk a little bit about WNBA recap. The finals are set, but before, I let you guys know who are the final two teams, let me do a little recap. Let me tell you what happened and give you a plot before I talk finals. The New York Liberty go into Las Vegas on Sunday and put boots on behinds. Goodness gracious. Go out there and defeat the Las Vegas Aces. The New York Liberty wins 76-62. Sabrina Ionescu continues to be the best player on the court and probably the best player during these playoffs. 22 points, 7 boards. Let's not forget, she's a guard. 22.7 boards in 36 minutes. Brianna Stewart-Stewie, another good performance by her. 19 points, 14 boards in 39 minutes of play. For the Aces, AJ Wilson, 19 points, 10 rebounds, a double-double in 37 minutes, and no one else showed up. Kelsey Plum, 17 points, was not enough. That was it. That's all the Aces got. Age has started to kind of show up a little bit. I don't know what they're going to do next year. That Aces team, they need to make a couple moves if they want to continue to remain relevant. I know they won back-to-back titles. You can't win them all. I understand that. But you can kind of see a little bit of age, especially out of Asia. And I know she played in the Olympics. A lot of stuff happened. But so did Kelsey Plum. So did Sabrina. Sabrina played in the Olympics, and she's looking very sharp. I don't know what's going on, but I can see a little bit of Father Time being like, hey, you guys. With that being said, also the New York Liberty, out on their revenge tour, they're coming out for blood. That New York Liberty looks serious, and I think they're going to win it all. But who are they going to face? Now, in the other series, remember, there's no East and Western Conference. They're going by seeding. The Connecticut Sun played the Minnesota Lynx tonight. They won. The Lynx won at home, 87-77. Minnesota wins the series 3-2. They've gone to the final. Huge performance. Huge. You can't get any bigger than this. Nafisa Collier for the Lynx, 27 points, 11 rebounds. My goodness, hell of a performance. She looking really good. She's going to give that New York Liberty a run for their money. That series might go to 5. We'll see. Courtney Williams as well, their point guard. 24 points, 27 assists in 31 minutes of play. She went 6 for 6 in the first half of that game. 6 for 6. Perfect from the field. She's just a great veteran on that team. She's one of the reasons why they've been great this postseason during these playoffs. They've been playing great. Courtney Williams, shout out to her. 7 assists on that game. And for Connecticut, Dejounte Carrington, she's the only one that showed up. 17 points, 12 rebounds in 35 minutes. She balled out, especially in the second half. Made it close. Made some key steals in the very last 7-8 minutes of that fourth quarter. Too little, too late. The final, the New York Liberty will play the Minnesota Lynx this Thursday at 8 p.m. in Brooklyn. Now, I have a very interesting thought here that I want to hear what you guys have to think. Don't forget to leave a comment. Let me know if you guys agree or disagree. What in the hell is going on with the WNBA trying to compete against the NFL? Game 1 is Thursday at 8 p.m. Okay, cool. Have they ever heard of Thursday night football? There's a reason why the NBA, there's a reason why MLB, even hockey, even MLS, they stay in their lane. They play a lot of Saturday games. Why in the world are you trying to compete against the NFL on a Sunday? Why? What do you gain? And the ratings have been there, especially during the Indiana Fever games. The ratings have been there. But your ratings could be better. The exposure this women should be better than what they've been getting. I will never understand why, or I don't get it. The commissioner of the WNBA and the networks should know better than to go against the NFL on Sundays and Thursdays. 2 days out of the week. I would rather have the WNBA play Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. Why not do back-to-back games? When you get that amount of rest days, I don't see why they can't do it. Doesn't make any sense. I would love to see for the final that kind of format. Or at least give me Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, go back to Tuesday. Why compete against the NFL? You are not going to win. Major League Baseball, they stay out of the NFL's hairs. Same thing with the NBA. Why are you trying to compete against the NFL? The NFL is the big, giant, white elephant in the room, and you're making it seem like he's not there. He is there. And the WNBA has been lucky that Indiana was good enough to make the playoffs this year. Caitlin Clark played great, even though her team got eliminated, but things might change next season. That team might go far if they draft well, or big free agent comes over their way. I don't think that's happening. With all the hate that Caitlin Clark has been getting, I don't think she's made many friends in the league, even though every single female in that league should shake her hand and say thank you for doing what we didn't do. But no, everybody want to be like, oh, I've been scoring 20 points per game in the WNBA. Yeah, but your personality is the same as a piece of paper. Look, I don't want to bash on A'ja Wilson. She is an amazing human being and an amazing player. But her personality, man, every time they put that mic in her face, you need to at least smile. Be a little bit more charismatic. You're putting up great numbers. You got to put yourself out there, too. Can't continue to blame Caitlin Clark. You got to look at yourself in the mirror and say, hey, what am I doing that I'm not getting any attention? I know it's not her fault. Maybe that's just the way she is. But people don't want to hear a boring ass conversation every time she has a microphone in front of her face. Caitlin Clark was on 60 Minutes. You're the 2-time MVP of the league, going on 3rd time, and no one is talking about you. Gotta do a little bit of soul searching. With that being said, thank you for making it to the very end of the show. Follow us on TikTok. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on Twitter X. I have another great show for you guys tomorrow. This is, and forever will be the GSMC DeadBall Sports Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. With that being said, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a good one.
Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day. Yeah, I'm tired of shit, and the coffee ain't hit yet, damn, ain't that great. I don't wanna go to